Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you. We are going to kick off our May, hold on, Ty. We're going to kick off our May town hall here this afternoon with singing Happy Birthday to Ty. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ty. Happy birthday to you. You're never too old to be embarrassed. You're only 42. Mm-hmm. Lies. Well, welcome, everyone. So happy you all came, and we are looking forward to a jammed-packed, as always, lots of information meeting. Before we invite Chaplain Lori up to bless our time together, isn't this a great picture? Right? Elizabeth, are you here? Did I see you? I knew. See, you're never too old to be embarrassed either. That's you. How many here in the house actually went to our Trout Derby Day? Oh, look at those hands. You can't see it, TV land, but there's a bunch. But I just thought it was an exceptional day. Charlotte, where are you at? I saw you. Oh, right beside Elizabeth. Our friend Charlotte here took the top prize of the $100 bill this week. She also got, I think, a McDonald's gift card, Chipotle gift card, and Kohl's gift card. Now, I will tell you, I still have this many to go. So you got to keep fishing, okay? So we want to remind the team members that they can continue to fish as well. So we do need the trout fished out. But I hope if you were able to attend the Trout Derby, you had a good time. I had an awesome time. And we are hopefully going to make that an annual event. But I wanted to remind everyone while this great picture was still up on the screen. So Chaplain Lori, will you please come forward and bless our time together?
I just want to say what a joy it is to be here to see you. And so with my saying that, I was reminded by a gentleman today, people are people are people the world around. And this is where it starts, right here as a community at a grassroots level, as we care about one another, because we are human beings. And so in that spirit, I come today and I offer a prayer. Let's pray. Gracious God, I thank you for the very simple things that draw us together, things that connect us, things that are essential in our lives. And Lord, today we just ask for you to be with us here in this community, that Lord, you would help us to pay attention to one another, that you would help us to be the kind of people that others can say, wow, that was really kind of them. Lord, help us to be good neighbors, not just here, but in a global sense. Just guide us in all things, Lord. Bless this town meeting. I pray your blessing upon our administration. I pray that you would just continue to guide and direct Tiffany. I give you thanks for her, and this I ask in your name. Amen. You're welcome.
I would now like to invite to the podium our one and only Billy Torrey.
Hello, good afternoon. Glad to see so many of you here this afternoon. I just have a few things to share about the auxiliary. Let me go here. Back to you. Thank you. Did you do that for me, Wes? Thank you. Okay, so are you curious about the Menno Haven Auxiliary? If you're not a current member, we have a few informal get-togethers coming up. They will be as the following dates: May 7th at 10 a.m. at Jenny's Porch, May 14th at 10 a.m. here right outside at the Life Center patio. And I guess if it rains, we'll have to move it inside. So I thought about that this morning after I finished talking. Ooh, what's our backup if it rains? So hopefully it will not rain. But we'll probably just move inside somewhere. May 21st at 2 p.m., also back at Jenny's Porch at Chambers Point. And then again, the last session will be on May 28th at 2 p.m. on the Life Center patio here at Brookview. It's okay if you're already a member and you want to come and encourage those that may not be a member. Just come on out and help encourage those that may not be a member, and encourage them to become a member of the auxiliary and know what we're all about. Okay. Thank you. The ice cream truck is coming from the Igloo. Yay, yay. The auxiliary has been looking for some different fundraisers to do. So my friend Ron, I actually know Ron who owns the Igloo. I'm like, hey, do you do any fundraising? He's like, yeah. So he's more than happy to come here. He's coming here 2 days. May 15th, he'll be at Chambers Point at Jenny's Porch from 11 to 3. And then he will be here on Friday, May 16th at Brookview down at the Pavilion, again from 11 to 3. The auxiliary is actually partnering with Team Services, and so it will be a resident team member event. So it'll be a good time to socialize with team members while you're standing in line waiting to order your ice cream, or hopefully get to sit down for a few minutes and talk with some team members over at Jenny's Porch or down at the Pavilion. They do accept cash or card, and they have ice cream, dishes, cones, milkshakes, and a few other selections available on their truck. And I should have wrote it down, but he just sent me the flavors that he usually has, and I believe he says it's usually chocolate, vanilla, raspberry, and cookies and cream are usually the options. And then, of course, they have, I think they call them tornadoes at the Igloo. One of them is tornadoes, and one of them's avalanches. I don't remember because Kenny has one and the Igloo has the other. So, and they will make those where they put pieces of candy in it and mix it all around, like a blizzard at like the Dairy Queen. Back in my day when I worked at the Dairy Queen, I made lots of blizzards. So that's something that's coming up just next week. And the good thing about this is, if you love ice cream, you can go to both locations. You know, and so then we will then receive funds back from the Igloo, a percentage back of the sales from the Igloo, which is a pretty significant amount that he will give back to us. So we're really excited about this. And the bummer about it is, well, I don't know. I'll be on a cruise. So I don't know if that's so much of a bummer, but I'm going to miss it. So, so please eat some ice cream for me. All right. And here are a few other fundraising opportunities that we have coming up. Soon you'll probably be seeing some information about the pancake breakfast. This will be on Saturday, June 14th. This will be offered over at Jenny's Porch like we did last year. This will be our second annual. Last year was our first time doing it, and it was such a great success. We want to try it again and hope we can get even more residents, families, team members to come and join us. And I hope Roger's planning to come and flip some pancakes for us again. I'm not sure I quite solidified that with him yet, but I'm hoping that he can. Thank you. He read my mind. I love it. So you'll either see some information in the Haven Connect about that, or we might send a flyer out depending on what we can do, but I know that's a bad word, sending out flyers, because Tiffany's going to talk about that a little bit later on. Then on Wednesday, July 16th is National Hot Dog Day, and so we're looking at bringing a lunch down to the Brookview Pavilion. We're still working out the details, but it'll probably be like a hot dog, a bag of chips, some cookies, and something to drink for a cash donation that day. So we're still working, like I said, with culinary to get all those details ironed out. But we're looking forward to that. Again, the ever popular Smith's Chicken Barbecue will be at Lowe's on Saturday, September 20th. So I know lots of residents come out and support us there and come and get dinners. And we do usually have the opportunity to have them delivered. We have a few ladies that often volunteer to help deliver meals back to the campuses, so we appreciate them doing that. And then a few more things that we have coming up. The fall, we'll have the Gene Winger's ham loaf again in the fall. We just wrapped up the spring ham loaf, and I think we were about 3 or 4 ham loaves shy of 500 of the small and large ham loaves. So thank you so much for everyone that, supported that fundraiser. I believe we were able to donate 160 of those ham loaves to the Cross. So they're always very appreciative of the donations. We have the seasonal gift card sale. That's called Raise Right, is what the gift card is. And the gift cards have a percentage on them that we get back, depending on which merchandise, from which vendor you buy from. But those gift cards are always available throughout the year in the boutique or the Point over at Chambers Point, the Village store. If you think, oh my gosh, I have a guest coming over and I need something quick, you can always come there and get them a gift card or something. And then we will have our annual year-end appeal also at the end of the year. So I believe that is all I have. So thank you for your time, and lots more to come.
Wes, are you flipping slides? Thank you. All right, here we go. Well, this slide is just giving you a little peek of how some of the ways that we show appreciation to our team members. So May 12th through the 16th next week is a National Nursing Home Week. So we try to celebrate in a variety of ways, and our team members love food trucks and love to come and get something different to eat. So we have the Daily Drip coming, and we have those food trucks at both campuses back and forth, different times, to try to catch all of our shifts that work. And so we'll have early morning, so the folks coming in for day shift and the folks going home for night shift can check out the Daily Drip, which is a coffee something truck. I think it has an awesome name. And then, of course, we'll have some barbecue. Scrubs on Wheels, you'll see that large van parked in the front parking lot. So it'll be parked at the Life Center, I believe, and moves around. And it provides scrub tops and bottoms, the uniforms, and they're very reasonable. So our team members really always request that the Scrubs on Wheels buggy comes back. And then, like Billy mentioned, our team members will be able to come to the Igloo ice cream bus for their yummy treats at no cost. So team services will foot the bill for them, but they can come up and get their avalanches or whatever it is and their milkshakes for free, just as a token of our appreciation for all of our hard work, all of the hard work that they do for all of us. And that's open to all team members. So we celebrate National Nursing Home Week here with everybody included. All right, next slide. You've been warned. Okay? I've been talking about it, and it's going to happen. I will be out with my radar gun, and I will be giving tickets, more like loving warnings. And I will also be giving affirmations to those folks who follow the speed limit. And I'm trying to make this humorous, and I don't want to scare people. I'm not going to be hiding behind the bushes and jumping out. But I do want to try to prove a point and have this speeding campaign, again, because I am passionate about it not taking a tragedy here for us to slow down. And I am very concerned that that's what it's going to take. And I think that this is a Menno Haven-wide issue and concern. It's not just the team members that drive fast, it's some residents too, as well as our vendors. Denise and I were at Chambers Point the other week, and we literally chased down the Thomas Somerville truck because he was flying. It felt like he was flying, right, as we were sitting still. So we did peruse around and stopped him and asked him to please slow down because it's a very large truck, and it felt like he was going too fast for that space. Now I'm going to have a little radar gun, so I have the facts to show to folks how fast they're going. So stay tuned for that. As my calendar allows, I'm blocking out some time. I'm going to be strategically positioned. I'm not telling you where, but between both campuses and all around to try to really encourage this campaign. Yes, sir? I could, Billy, make it an auxiliary fundraising for every, we'll have to discuss the fine situation. How about that? That's a brilliant idea. So stay tuned for that. So the next slide, I want to give you some information about why I have this goofy microphone and why we have these different speakers that are up. This technology that runs this room, including the lights, the sound systems, the projectors, our movie theater, is called Creston, or I don't know how you say it, but it's something. And it's broke. It's broke. So we placed portable speakers in this event center because we had IRP in here, we had other events in here, musical things, we were having town hall coming. And last weekend, was it last weekend or the weekend before? 2 weekends ago. The speakers that were here on this stage and the table that has sort of the mixing board, it was actually back there in that corner, someone came in and knocked over the speakers. Someone messed with the mixing board, broke the speakers were damaged, and those portable speakers were the backup to our overall system. I was not a happy camper. Not a happy camper. Right? My knee jerk is check the cameras, right? Let's check all the cameras. We do not have cameras in every inch and every corner. We have cameras in entrances, but we don't have cameras at every single nook and cranny, as we should not have to, right? So I don't know if it was unsupervised children. I don't know if it was a disgruntled somebody. I have no idea. But it's very frustrating for us to have to feel the need to lock doors, right, in this community because someone took it upon themselves not to be good neighbors, right? So I'm asking now for you all to give us a little grace as we work through portable systems, as we try to figure out how do we get the overall system back up and working. But I am putting a plea out there to make sure that we are aware of our surroundings. If we have folks that are in places they shouldn't be, if we have children that are not supervised, it's a very awkward conversation for me to have to go to someone and say, hey, I heard your grandkids were here, or hey, I heard you were messing around in the event center, right? That's not the favorite part of my job. So I'm just asking us all to be really good neighbors, pay attention to our surroundings, and, make sure that we're reaching out if we see something that just doesn't feel okay. All right? But I do want to shout out to Cameron, Wes, Elvis, Zach, everybody in our IT department. They have rallied, pulled together equipment. I feel like a lot of times the past few days we have it held together with duct tape and bubble gum, but it works. You can hear me today. We're able to broadcast and things of that nature, but we do have to work through some technology things for the future. All right. I just want to keep you in the loop about some strategy things and some things that we're working on. I get questioned a lot about, how many of them there houses out on Scotland Road do we own? Well, we're going to try to get one more. I think it's, don't hold me to it, I tried to drive by on the way over. I think it's 2353. So it is the home in the block between Northgate Commons and Northfield Boulevard, Northfield Drive. And when I tell you what color the lamp post is, you're going to know which house I'm talking about. It's the yellow one. Okay, so the brick house with the yellow lamppost. We are currently in conversations with that homeowner to potentially purchase their home if we can come to an agreement on a price. At this point, just so I can kibosh any stories, there are no discussions about tearing the house down or anything of that nature or future building in that block. We still, I don't think, own the corners of that block yet. So there's still some homes there in that block that we would need to secure. Want to just give you a couple updates on our 2025 stewardship initiatives. I think I gave Chuck a small heart attack when this came up earlier at 10 o'clock, our 10 o'clock town home, because he's like, oh my goodness, is she going to go through all of them? Only a couple. I do want to just remind you of some of the tippy top priority ones that we're really focused on. Emergency preparedness is one of them. We are currently negotiating with a variety of vendors that can come in and do various assessments for our policies, our training protocols, things of that nature. We are also working closely with other life plan communities like Menno Haven, and how do they handle emergency preparedness? What does that look like? What would work here at Menno Haven? We just had our insurance provider do a walkthrough talking about how we're monitoring entrances and things of that nature. Again, the biggest thing here for me is a communication platform. I'm probably going to keep talking about it as we talk about other slides, but I am adamant about us being able to have a communication platform here at Menno Haven that is hopefully a one-stop shop. I want one platform that can immediately inform you as residents, that can immediately inform our team members if something is happening. How many of you watched the news or got an alert on your phone yesterday about an underground fire and gas leak in Hanover last night? Right? Big deal. That's a very big deal. How many of you came across your phone last evening about flash flood warning in Franklin County? Right? So in my little head, I want to be able, if something is happening here in our vicinity or on our campus, that we can immediately communicate. But I want the nimbleness of being able to communicate to you as residents. How does this impact you as residents? But also having the nimbleness of how do we then contact and rally our team members of how an incident may be impacting them, right? If they're coming into work, if they're at work, or if they work later in the day. So it sounds like that should be really simple, right? There should be a one-stop shop that I can get that on my phone and it be done. Not so easy. So we are being very guarded about just picking a provider and slapping it out there. We were very heavily doing some due diligence to make sure it speaks with all our current programs and systems that we have, and that it is going to be effective. I don't want it to just be a fly-by-night kind of situation. All right, so continue to stay tuned for that. Moving on, we continue to make Menno Haven at home one of our top priorities, our stewardship initiative for 2025. We are gaining some ground there, but Menno Haven at home continues to not be able to contribute to the bottom line here at Menno Haven. And we know that there are lots of folks probably in this room and watching right now that utilize the Menno Haven at home services. So we want to do whatever we have to do and can try to figure out if it's logistics, if it's people, whatever it is, to make that department successful. So please know that that continues to be a priority. Moving to cost control and contract review. Adria is going to come up. Adria Long is our controller, and she's going to give you some positive notes about where we stand financially. But I am still pushing out a philosophy of urgency that we have to do what we can to control our costs and expenses. For example, this morning I gave the example that we have switched our workers' compensation carrier, so an insurance, something that we have to have, but we have been with the same provider for several years. Switching providers gets us the same amount of coverage, actually some things a little bit better, and we have saved over $200,000 this year in that premium. Great, that's awesome. So we are evaluating everything, every contract, every vendor, every partner that we have. When they're coming to the table or they're sending us bills, we're pushing back and saying, is this the best that you can do? We have to be brave enough to call out our partners, those that we have been with for a long time, and say, look, we're going to shop around. We're going to shop around. We are a part of an association that has a purchasing network, right? So our purchasing department, Brian and his team, our culinary team, right? We need to work together and confirm where is the best place that we can procure items for the best price. And I use the example that in our refurbishment and construction teams, we buy paint. We buy a lot of paint, right? And this purchasing network that we are already a part of, if we continue to buy paint from Sherwin-Williams, we get a 5% discount. Well, that's a no-brainer. Let's make sure we're getting every discount that we are entitled to. So just know that that has been our philosophy, of looking at a variety of different, again, all the invoices that come in and looking at a variety of different departments of where we can save, for sure. Speaking of saving, I know this is on several people's radar, our Northgate building lighting. Again, everything's controlled by software, which is awesome when it works. So we've had a glitch in the system. So that means if you wanted to dine at Chestnut Landing, you had a choice, all the lights on or all the lights off. So we voted to keep all the lights on because even though all of us like a little ambiance, I would like to be able to see my spoon and fork. That entire building system is, again, controlled by a software. That vendor is coming May the 15th. And our goal, again, is to really focus on how can we leverage the software we have? How can we utilize that software? Can it be, more user-friendly? Someone brought up this morning, and I'm going to bring it up here now. When I'm in the Northgate building, I left there one evening at 9 o'clock, and every light is on. Every light is on. Now, I want to be sensitive to that. We can't have every light off either. Right? Because an emergency is never going to happen at 2:30 on a Tuesday afternoon. A massive emergency will likely happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. All right? So we need to have a system that identifies, do all the lights or can they be dimmed, and we're using less energy, but in an emergency, everything lights up. Right? We don't have to want to hold on to, we need a volunteer for each floor that can turn on the lights and turn off the lights. We got to be more nimble than that. I joked this morning that there is a secret room back here. It's our storage room. And culinary and marketing, everybody has a storage cage. And somebody had the brilliant idea in that room to make the light a motion sensor. Okay? It's great. That makes great sense to me. But I went in the other day. I walked all the way in, the door closed, and I'm like this. I mean, I'm waving my hands, and there is no light in there. And I'm like, oh, like this. I just kept kind of pacing until the light finally came on. Right? We can't go to that extreme either. But you've heard, if you attended some recent coffee and conversations, one of our passionate neighbors concerned about garage lights staying on. I drove up the main drive the other day, coming in the main entrance, and I see the post lights, and I'm like, why are those post lights still on? Right? It's 9:30 in the morning. And so, I have to reach out to our friends in maintenance and say, hey, check this. Is this a sensor? And so we want to hear those things. It's important to us. We do not get up in the morning and think, today's the day we are going to waste the residents' money. Right? That's not our goal. It is definitely making sure that if you see something, you bring it to our attention, and we do our best to get it fixed. On that note, moving on to capital expense, you'll recall that this is one of the areas of our 2025 stewardship initiatives. We are putting on hold any unnecessary capital expenses as we work through our processes here, again, our contracts, our partners, and things of that nature. Now, let me be clear that we are doing things that are absolutely necessary. right? We had an HVAC, heating and cooling system software upgrade that had to be completed at our Northgate building. If the cooler would die over here in the grill, right, we have to have a walk-in cooler. Those things we are going to do. But we prioritize our capital list as absolutely necessaries, the things that we need but we can still do business without. And then the things are number 3 are the things that get on my nerves and I just want it done. Well, the things that get on my nerves and I just want to get it done get pushed way down. As we are being very sensitive to the stewardship of our funds, we want to not do unnecessarily and spend unnecessarily, but make sure that we are spending where the spending is needed. Okay? On the next slide, we are pursuing any grant monies that are out there for communities like us in our industry. One of the things that we are evaluating is the potential for increased solar use here at Menno Haven, as well as there any grant funding money out there to assist us with our emergency training plans, because I again see this as a campus-wide training. That means you too, right? And having and being able to pay for experts to come in and teach us situational awareness, teach us processes and things of that nature. It is, as we take this emergency preparedness journey, it is evident to me that if you live in a cottage and the electric goes out, you're on your own. If the electric is out for an extended period of time, and I'm talking we are in a, disaster, we have common spaces here at Menno Haven that we would want to be able to sort of triage everyone. Right? In a disaster, if need be, we could fit how many cots in this room? But this building is not on a generator. So we are pursuing grants through our friends at West Penn Power to see if this building could have a generator as well. Like our healthcare areas, our village squares, our other larger buildings do have generators, but this is a large common space that in a disaster could be used if need be. Working on technology infrastructure, and then we are evaluating if there is monies out there that we could use to potentially have a sustainability team member, an employee, that is their focus. So Billy joked to you about flyers. I'm not anti-flyer. But I do think that we need to have someone that's able to really buckle in and look at our processes so in 1 week's time, you don't get a 1 full-page flyer on Tuesday and you get a second one on Wednesday because our departments don't communicate and it could have been 1 flyer front and back, right? And how to have somebody have that priority of, going building to building, managing our light, managing our energy, and things of that nature. So we are pursuing that as well. And there's a whole other litany list of things that we are potentially looking for grant monies for. We are not going to just pursue things just to come up with projects because we have a lot of projects of our own. But if there are things out there that we can use that are beneficial in this time, we are going to pursue them. But I'll keep you posted on all of that. These are just some potential possibilities, not anything in stone. Okay? Next, I'm going to invite up to the stage is our controller, Adria Long. She is filling in for our good friend Ryan Fritz, who is traveling for work. Miss Adria?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. As Tiffany said, I am Adria Long. I'm the controller here. I don't know that I've had the pleasure of meeting too many of you, so it's an honor to be up in front of you today. I think Tiffany provided a great segue into the finance update, as I think we're starting to see some of the impact of some of the cost control measures taking place. If you look at your agenda, there is financial information provided if you want to follow along. So I'm pleased to begin with some positive news regarding our bond covenants. We're currently exceeding Both required financial benchmarks by comfortable margins. Our debt service coverage ratio, it currently stands at 1.69 for a rolling 12-month period, which significantly exceeds our 1.2 minimum requirement. Additionally, our days cash on hand is an impressive 310 days. Yes, sir. Our cash. Oh, yeah, sorry. The question was, he seems to have seen that 310 days, I guess a lot over the last year. Did I say that, repeat that correctly? Yes, over a year. So our cash position, it stays pretty steady. We have, some fluctuations, but for the most part, based on the calculations, we don't see a ton of fluctuation there. Okay. And then turning to our revenue for the first quarter was the $16.2 million, which is favorable to our budget by $366,000. This did come despite some challenges in our skilled nursing facilities census, which was below budget by 8.1 days during the quarter. But we did have some performance by our personal care division that helped overcome some of this shortfall. They performed exceptionally well and exceeded the census projections by 2.8 days. Our total expenses, we also saw positive results. They were $18 million, which was favorable to our budget by $119,000. Our year-to-date cost per day is currently at $172,000 compared to $169,000 in 2024. This is a smaller increase than the March CPI of 2.4%. So that is a good thing. Our non-operating revenue was $94,000 for the first quarter, which is favorable to the budget by $41,000. We are closely monitoring our market conditions. They don't seem to be as favorable in 2025 as they were in 2024, but we are specifically looking at the impact of the recent tariffs as this could affect our financial position in the future. Overall, our net assets decreased by $1.7 million, which is actually favorable to our budget by $526,000. And then to reiterate what Tiffany had said, as we look ahead, I do want to assure you that our leadership team remains intently focused on monitoring and evaluating our operations to eliminate the unnecessary expenses or spending. This commitment to fiscal responsibility continues to be the cornerstone of our management approach as we navigate the remainder of the year. Thank you. That is all I had, and I will turn it over to Roger Bynes for an operations update. Oh, thank you, Tiffany.
Thanks, Adria. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's see here. So, I come to you, seems like more often than I would like, saying I need to be transparent about something. But today I get to be transparent about some positive news. So about 6 weeks ago, we had our annual Department of Health surveys at both Brookview and the Chambers Point Healthcare Centers. They show up each year. This year they brought 4 or 5 different surveyors, including one from CMS, a federal surveyor. which always makes our state surveyors a little bit anxious and out of sorts. But we were pleased that after 4 days of intense digging and such, that they came up with a total of 7 what they call deficiencies or citations, but none of them were of really any consequence like we've had to talk about in some years past. Most of these were really related to a little bit of paper compliance, where, well, one, like you see, we had a bed hold that wasn't mailed. When someone goes to the hospital, not only do we have to ask them if they want to keep their room with us, but then we have to turn around and mail our policy to the family as well, and ensure that that it was indeed their desires. We'd like to assume that if you live here and you go to the hospital, you plan to come back, but due to those regulations, we can't assume that. And so in this case, we failed to mail that bed hold. There were a few other items as well, again, that weren't really related to quality or the care that we provide. Another example that I cited was the ice machine, the air gap. The requirement, if you know your ice machines, is that, there's a drain tube that drains the water out, and when it does so, it drains into a floor drain, and you need a certain air gap between that drain and the floor drain, so that in the event that water comes up through the drain, that it doesn't, contaminate your ice. And so in this case, that ice machine had been there 5 years, and it was okay, but this year the air gap was not sufficient, so we had to cut the tube a little shorter to increase the air gap. So not to make light of it, but there are about 700 regulations that we're required to follow in the skilled nursing facility. So we're happy when we come away with 6 or 7 of those deficiencies. The survey agency told us that the average for our region is about 20 deficiencies this year. So we feel that this is pretty good, and so we're giving it a solid B rating. Did it work? Yep. There we go. And so then, at the end of the survey at Brookview, they turned around and headed over to Chambers Point Healthcare Center and spent another 3 days over there. And they came away with only 4 citations, which it's been several years, beyond my recent memory, that we've had a survey that was that good. And again, the specifics were not really of any clinical significance, we would say. There's a pain medication follow-up. We had given the person some Tylenol, and is our standard that after you do so, you go back after a couple hours and say, did that work? And we didn't do that within those couple hours, and therefore, that was a citation. And again, I don't know how many medications we administer over the course of a day, but if that's what they found and they want to write that as a deficiency, we'll take that. So again, we feel really good about that, and at Chambers Point, we're giving that survey an A. So they did very well. We do expect that is going to improve their star ratings overall that were impacted by some of the other deficiencies that we had 2 years ago, at Brookview and such, that we weren't particularly proud of. So we're feeling really good about that. Okay, so moving on. So yes, how many of you in attendance had the opportunity to take in the screening of the Still Dreaming movie in the Culinary Center? Okay. And again, for TV land, I think there's probably 20 or so hands raised out there. That was brought to us by one of our residents, Henry Hopper, who had been listening to our conversations about the To Whom I May Concern program that we are hoping to bring to Menno Haven in the near future. And it caught his attention because, there were people that were putting on a Shakespearean play, Midsummer Night's Dream, but several of them had some cognitive challenges that were really impacting the production, and it was both challenging but also very rewarding for the amateur filmmakers who are making the documentary. And we felt that it was pertinent, for the group to hear how people with these challenges, can still, have a solid performance and have a fulfilling life. And so we were really pleased that he brought that to us. We had a little group conversation with about 20 people yesterday afternoon on the subject matter. And I do believe that based on the feedback we had, we're going to try to continue to bring some of these type of educational opportunities to the groups as well. So stay tuned for that. And then lastly, I wanted to talk just a little bit about Branch Creek Place. We want to thank you. You see the group there. There's a very dedicated core group of members. They have a lot of different activities. They go out on a lot of events, like, they go to the Sight and Sound Theater. They go to the Dutch Apple Theater a lot. They like to do these things, but it does require them to raise some funds because it's not a well-funded organization. And we want to thank you at Menno Haven for your contributions in supporting Branch Creek Place with all of those eggs and pretzels that you bought this year. I don't know how many totes I toted back and forth from Shippensburg to distribute around to all of our dining venues, but every time I was amazed at how many dollars I was pouring out of that little bucket. And so your generosity is much appreciated, and they were able to raise $10,069 this year of profit. That's over and above any expenses. And I think they had a group of 5 or 6 ladies working in the sweatshop for hours every day because they're very, very committed. And you can see some of the photos of some of the folks who participated there. So thank you for that. I'm also coming to you today as an appeal for some volunteer support. Branch Creek Place also supplies all of the Meals on Wheels for Shippensburg. And so every morning on Monday through Friday, they have a group of volunteers. Unfortunately, it's a dwindling group of volunteers that come to help pack up those meals and then redistribute them through coolers and then the drivers that take them out and distribute them. So if there's anyone in the room who has an interest in participating, we'd love to have you. You don't have to be there 7:30 to 11:30 Monday through Friday. But if you wanted to be there 7:30 to 9:30 or 9:30 to 11:30, a day or two a week, they're open to training you, all the food safety that you need to know. But we would appreciate any support that you might like. The phone number for Diana Nazario, our director, is up there on the sheet. But you can call me. I'll get you in touch with her. We'll let you know. And that's all I've got for you today. So I think we'll bring Denise Ingram, our Community Life Officer, to the front.
All right. I'm a little shorter. Do I need to move this down? Wes is saying yes, please do. It's making me have feelings. We didn't practice this ahead of time. Okay, hi, welcome everyone. Hope you all are having a great day. So I am going to talk about first Franklin Commons, which is Franklin Square Commons, which is across from the rehab center. We have 404 Benjamin Drive, which is a unit that the people sold to Menno Haven and decided to remain in that residence. So we have 1 of 3 occupied at this time. 414 was the first unit that we bought over there, and we've spent some significant time over there and getting it ready, what we call market ready, so that it was supported by all of the services that you have come to expect as Menno Haven independent living residents. So we're happy to say we have most of that in place right now. and we're ready to go to market. So what does that mean? That means that we will be contacting anyone who is a team member or a family member of a team member. We will be contacting people who are our board of directors, and then we'll start with our Now Club, talking with people there. We have a mailer that we are getting ready to push out to introduce Menno Haven's newest neighborhood. And we are considering them a townhome, which sits like a cottage in our inventory. We also purchased 403 Deborah Court. Jim McFern and I are going over tomorrow to take a look at the unit itself to determine what refurbishment we need to do there and get a plan in place so that we can take that one to market as well. And then I also received a phone call, I don't know, a week or so ago with someone who said, I am ready to sell to Menno Haven. So I'm going to be engaging in that conversation in the coming weeks. So all in, we have 3, 1 occupied, 1 ready to market, and 1 on the way, and then maybe another on the way. So that's what we have there. As you guys have probably seen, if you've driven on Scotland Road, you have seen that the heavy equipment is on site. We have started moving the dirt there at 2305 Scotland Road. We were hoping that we were going to have, and we may still have it by Friday, we're hoping to have the concrete poured, the footers poured, and ready to roll with that one. But that is all weather dependent. And after last night's storms, I don't know what I'm going to hear, but next Thursday we'll have a construction meeting with the contractor, which is ECI, and we will talk about the timeline for the new resident coming into Menno Haven so that we can help them to determine how to continue to downsize their home and get ready for their move, which we anticipate to be late fall of this year. Some of you who live at Northgate, perhaps on the 3rd floor, or frequent the Northgate building will see that, or will have heard through the grapevine, that we have decided to do a little bit of a refresh to the 3rd floor at Northgate. About a week or so ago, we started on wing number 1. We wanted to get an idea of the scope of the work that needed to be done, because being good stewards, Menno Haven team is actually going to be engaged in that refurbishment. So it's a fresh coat of paint to the walls to lighten and brighten them. We've taken down some of the heavier draperies that are there. We're still working through some things, so we're not quite done. But because that work is being done in-house by our own maintenance team, we wanted to be sure that we understood what the scope of the work was so we could communicate the plan and timeline for the longest wing of the 3rd floor. So 2025 will be the 3rd floor at Northgate. The next thing, I'm going to be Brian Garber. I don't know, he's here probably. But Brian has communicated with us that in cooperation with the borough and the Guilford Water Authority, that we have been asked to conserve water. What does that mean to residents at Menno Haven? That means that when you've asked us to come to do power washing, we're putting your name on a wait list for that because we want to be good stewards of the water in our area. We want to comply with the municipal guidelines. So we are looking at a re-evaluation of whether we need to continue that water conservation in June. One thing that you may see, though, if you see power washing going on, it is for units that we are refurbishing for brand new residents to come in. So don't think that your neighbor's getting something you're not getting. I just need to make it look spick and span when we get that new resident coming in, okay? So, okay. Now, back in January, we advertised for any resident who was interested in giving us or participating in a focus group as we reimagined our leisure coordinator department. We wanted to gather your insights and your comments and your thoughts about that, what we're doing well. So we asked that question, what are we doing good? What do you like about the current activities, trips, etc.? We gave residents of those focus groups a magic wand to give us your wish list of everything that you hope that we would do. And then we discussed different scenarios of things that the leisure coordinator department currently encounters. And we parked a long time on this whole thing of transportation and communication. We entered the focus groups with the goal to reimagine the leisure coordinator department. And we were pleased really with how interactive every one of the groups were, how much information they were willing to share, and the camaraderie actually that we saw among the residents who were actually there. Residents noted that there is a lot of things that they already like about our leisure coordinator program and offerings. That said, after reviewing more information and the conversations, it was clear that we needed to put some priorities in place. Those priorities include putting an emphasis on maintaining and increasing resident participation and satisfaction so that we would be addressing all independent living residents. So we have our folks who are frequent flyers signing up for almost everything we do. We have some of our residents who occasionally and from time to time are really engaged with what we're doing. But then I thought it was really interesting that the groups that we had actually said, you know, there's a bunch of people, like I've got some neighbors that I never see them out doing anything. And so they felt very strongly that we should be thinking of how do we get organic growth at Menno Haven? How do we engage people that we're not seeing regularly? So we spent a little bit of time talking about that. Residents also talked about being concerned for our leisure coordinators. They were worried about the amount of turnover that we've had, and they were worried, more importantly, about burning out our leisure coordinators. Because there are times when there is so much packed into on and off campus activities and trips that we can barely catch our breath because you guys are saying, hey, slow it down. I need to catch my breath, even though you want to do all the things that we have available. So we asked the question, you know, how many things should the leisure coordinators actually be doing or having out there available? And it kind of felt like there was a consensus somewhere between 2 and 4, maybe 3 activities for me to choose from. Because not only do I have leisure coordinator activities to do, I also have things from the wellness team. I have things from the culinary team because they put on some great events. So they really wanted us to look at how can we better actually also coordinate our calendars so that it's meaningful for everyone and that we have that choice that we're looking for. So that brought us to the whole conversation about, and you've heard Tiffany say it, you've probably heard me say it, quality over quantity. Because it's really important that we execute well what we're going to do and put out there in front of you. So we talked about that at great length. And then we also talked a lot about how well the off-campus trips were, and that they felt that there should be a significant balance between what we're doing off-campus and bringing more things in for in-campus so that we are able to have some of that organic growth and maybe touch some of the people that we don't normally see. So I thought you guys, your insights were great. We really welcome them and we're excited about them. Because you're looking at not only yourself and what you like to do, but you're also being that good neighbor and worrying about other people. So give yourselves a pat on the back for that. Part of these off-campus things, though, brought us to a conversation about transportation and what that needed to look like. You know, sometimes as the leisure coordinator, you're not only the leisure coordinator deciding what we're going to do, where we're going to go, how are we going to get there, are we going to eat, are we going to stop for ice cream, all of those things. But when you're the driver of the vehicle and you're going 2 hours or more and the traffic gets heavy, I don't think I can give you as much attention as you need in the back when I'm worried about where am I going to park the car, how am I going to drive. So we talked about that at length. And we also talked about when it was time to actually engage in some outside transportation for those kinds of events. And it felt really comfortable with all of the focus groups that they said, we're okay if you get that third party to come in and do that transportation. And we're okay with that costing us somewhere between $20 and $25. So we're taking that into consideration. And then the biggest topic of all, you've heard Tiff talk about it on many different levels, and we've talked about it in leisure coordinators forever, this whole idea of communication. there's lots to say about communication. You know, people want to know, you know, what's going on, and some people want it in print, some people want it online, some people will do the portal. You know, how do I sign up for a trip? We talk through how do I cancel a trip? How do I communicate with you when things are going awry? So we know that communication is one of the biggest things that we have to tackle, and it's just a big topic. So after all of that conversation, we said, okay, let's get out our magic wand. What does that look like? Residents came prepared with their ideas. Wasn't shocking, but you came with your ideas. These are just a few of the highlights that kind of resonated across all 4 of the groups. It was clear, and it is clear, that we have a very engaged group of independent living residents here, and that our leisure coordinators already have set the bar really, really high for your expectations. So while we aren't planning to do everything that you see right now, our leisure coordinators will keep them top of mind as we plan calendars now and in the future. One thing that did came out as part of the conversation was whenever we have suggestions, right? I see you, we're at the birthday lunch, and you're giving me my iced tea and making sure everything's great. And then I have an idea. Hey, Denise, blah, 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 I want to blah, blah, blah. Well, the whole thing about that is that we are engaged in an activity for you right now, and so that might be a fleeting moment. I heard you, but I didn't record it, right? So the ask was that if you had ideas and that you verbally told it to us whenever we're in an event, if you could follow that up with either an email or a telephone conversation, or maybe sometime whenever you just see me going and grabbing my lunch at the grill. That's what would be most helpful to us, because those are important. We want to know your feedback. And then the other thing that came out was our leisure coordinators are planning trips, events, and activities that are 12, 15, sometimes 18 months in advance. So our calendars are pretty set. Doesn't mean we can't add something in, it just means that we have to really look at things, and so sometimes we can't give you that immediate answer that you're looking for. So as a result of those January meetings, we've had a couple things that we've mastered. We have mastered the birthday lunches. In the past, we did a formal invitation for anyone who was having a birthday. That required us to create an invitation, create a mailing list, put the labels on it, and make sure you got the invitation and then follow it up. Now we are advertising that on the resident portal and in the Haven Connect. You all know when your birthday is, so we want to make sure you have a good lunch. And as my friend from college's mom always said, it's not your birthday unless you have birthday cake and somebody sings happy birthday to you. So let us do that for you, okay? So that has been a real time saver for the leisure coordinator department just by changing that communication channel. The other thing we heard was that we like bingo, but they wanted it to be a little more consistent. So we now offer bingo at 3 locations, at the Renaissance, at Northgate, and here in the Life Center. So 3 times a month you have opportunity to come play bingo. And the other feedback that we heard was when we're having brunch at 1421 at the Point, those brunch hours felt like they didn't allow for residents to be able to go to church and then come back and participate in that brunch. So we have adjusted that schedule, and we've made some other changes over there. So those are 3 things that actually I could say this came out of, thank you, focus groups, okay? That leads us to what are we doing now? Where are we, and what progress do we still need to make? The first thing we need to do is interview and hire a second leisure coordinator. We've had some interviews. We have a candidate that we are excited about. So we are working through that process right now. We hope that in the coming days we will be able to tell you that we have hired someone. We are also reviewing and refining the monthly calendars. We want to make sure that when our leisure coordinators, that their calendars are coordinated, and then we're looking at how to coordinate them further with other departments like, culinary wellness, etc. So because we want to make sure that we're getting down to that 2 to 3, 4 times a week that we have something going on because other things are going on. And then we have this whole idea of transportation that we're going to tackle. You know, the destinations that are 2 hours or more, we have decided that we feel like that's kind of a thing that says we should be hiring that outside transportation company so that my leisure coordinator can be connected to you, can have fun on the way. Because when most of you, a lot of you in this audience right now came in through me, you know, I promised you that you would go to bed tired every night because you had had fun during the day. And I want to be true to that promise. So we want to make sure that our leisure coordinators can actually be very interactive with you. And then we're also looking at trips and activities that are going to be highly sought after. And we're going to make sure that we know what our transportation and all of those logistics are ahead of us actually advertising them. And to that end, if we are going to have a trip, we're going to have our leisure coordinator go on that trip ahead of you because it's important that we know what is the terrain, what should we do, how should we do it, and then we'll advertise that for you. The other thing is whenever you sign up for a trip, your cost will include whatever the ticket or admission cost is, and it will guarantee you a seat on that bus. We're working right now through a cancellation policy that we don't have in place today. What should that look like? And we're also looking at, a lot of us sometimes secure our own seats, and we just are looking for a ride. So we're looking at what is the logistics of how that works. So that's some of the stuff in transportation. And then from an a communication perspective, you may have noticed in your Haven Connect and on the resident portal that we have expanded some of the descriptions of activities that you're doing. This is a direct result of what the feedback was about how do I know what's going on. So if it's a music venue or a music group coming in, we're going to tell you what genre of music that is. We're going to hopefully give you a link to a website so you can look and research it on your own a little bit. We're going to talk about if it's a trip, what is the activity? Is it easy, moderate, or a little more difficult? So that I can make a good choice about whether or not I want to participate in that or not. So those are some of the things that are kind of in the works right now. And then the other thing is the whole communication platform. We've talked about possibly a Menno Haven app. We've talked about, utilizing some of our other software programs a little more efficiently. We're looking into all of that right now because we want you to have a good experience and know what's going on. So that's what we have from the leisure coordinator focus groups. So I want to thank everybody who participated in those, and I thank everyone for your just continued support of the Leisure Coordinator Department, as well as, just supporting us. So Chuck, you're next.
I'll put it a little higher. I thought I was going to have to come up here with a ladder to help her, but we got it. Pardon? Oh, he will? Okay. Okay. I also took copies of the slides because I can't see that. So I don't know why they put me last, but I have a few words to say, whoever's awake, okay? And I know it's a long, and I won't talk as long as the rest of them, but kind of want to keep you up to date with our fundraising goals so you know what's going on. Benevolence is our number one. We had started, and really can refer to benevolence as charitable care, back over 60 years ago, and it makes us different than most of the CCRCs across the countries. And a lot of people come here. That's one of the major reasons. Thank you. So we're doing our mid-year appeal. You'll be getting that. And then we do a year end. And we have a goal of 775, which it isn't as much as we spend on benevolent care, but we're getting there. The MAHE Fund, it's the Menno Haven Employee Appreciation Fund. A lot of you must know about it because last year we collected $197,000. That's just great. And that was divided between all our team members except the executives and the directors. And I'm telling you, it was appreciated. But the first of the year, finally, after I don't even know how many years, we got the IRS to approve it for tax deductibility. So as of January 1st, it's tax deductible. It's amazing how that picked up things. I think it was our biggest first quarter ever with this. So thank you very much. Keep giving. And the Menno Cares Fund is a fund for team members where we give, say, we have PTO, all of us, and we can go up to 300 hours. That's paid time off. And if you go over it, you lose it. And we attach a dollar amount to it, and that goes in the fund. I lost 15 hours last week, but it's for a good cause, so I'm happy. And a team member maybe can't pay their electric bill, which you can imagine is difficult these days for all of us. Maybe a spouse passed away, or a child they have is ill, and they come to us. We have a committee. This is a great benefit to them. The Hope House, we're done. It was a long haul, but it was great. Tomorrow, Tiff and Allie and I and Billy are meeting for lunch with Mark Story, the director of Habitat, and we're going to give him a check for $245,000. So he'll be happy. We had two team members get this one. We had a team member about 2 months ago get another one that they were building, and we have a number of team members on the list to get those for the future. So this is great. They get to own their own home. Let's see. All other projects, who knows what? Anybody that wants something done, either a team member or resident, they come to see me. I get a lot of people. And as my children will tell you, and my grandchildren, I don't know the word no. So I will figure it out no matter what it takes. So we'll keep you updated on that all year. Some of the projects that have been funded this is important to me because you know I'm a big dog person. And did you hear that? The two dogs in here, Hershey and Lucy, and they're being real good today, as always. The gazebo, we did raise the $20,000, also to extend the fence out kind of in a U so we can put it in there because some of the dog owners didn't want to take away from the dog being able to run in there. So, and also we have 7 benches in there, and the word got out, we've offered $500. I did one. You can name a bench in honor or memory of your dog, and we've already got not 3, but 5 sold. So there's 2 left. As you can see on there, Village Park landscaping. We had a resident come to see us, and they wanted to dress it up, and it did need some work. And if you look at it in front of the pavilion down here going to the lake, it looks great, and that's a picture of it. And, you know, people come here, and one thing they say is, it is beautiful. And why it's beautiful is because we do stuff like this. Tech Ops, who is here today running the sound system, thank God. And in fact, we just, as a new one, as Tiff might have told you, we just got it in yesterday. It took all day, and it's kind of a mobile one. And we needed it at Chambers Point this morning because lightning must have hit the chapel over there. They didn't have any sound either. So, and that was given by donated funds. But Tech Ops came to me. They need a van. And as you see, they're a nice-looking group there. And they do a lot. Many of you have probably worked with them. They service the team members, the residents. You know, next year, we have to put in about 100, correct me if I'm wrong, about 125 new laptops because evidently, I don't understand this, but Microsoft 10 is not going to be supported. So all of those have to be updated. The only way to do it is give them a new computer. So, and they go around, they come to visit a lot of you, so they need something to carry equipment in. So I'm trying to raise 30 there. We'll probably buy a used one. And people come to me for everything, and because I do keep some funds that residents or donors will give me and say, Chuck, use it for whatever you want. So I restrict it till we need it, and needed a new felt covering for the pool table. I just put it on there last year. We're doing it, but this time we're smart. We're getting a hard top made for the top of the pool table. So it'll be like a banquet table. And then about 2 weeks ago, I had a resident at Northgate call and said, Chuck, can you get me 7 side tables at the gazebo in the middle of Northgate? If you haven't seen it, and you just go right in, go back. It's beautiful, a courtyard, and they were delivered yesterday. So they have a lot of parties, evidently. Evidently, we party a lot around here, so which is great. Now, some things that we're just considering is I've had a resident and is willing to pay for some of it, Chambers Point. The doors, if you've been to the pool at the bottom of the Renaissance, problem is there are about 5 entrances. Those doors are heavy, and if you have a walker, you're in a wheelchair, it's tough. So she thinks she's going to pay for at least one. Is, for that one door you're looking at, for a door opener, it's $15,000. And that, if we had a card reader on it, it'd be $5,000 more. So that's how ridiculous prices are. So she just sent me an email, Chuck, we're going to have to talk because there's 5 doors. I don't know if I'm going to do them all, but I'll talk to you. I said, great. And I got a call from Jim McFerrin about 2 weeks ago. He said, I think the pier at the Reflection Lake over at Chambers Point, I think it's going to fall in the water. We probably ought to replace it. I said, that's probably a good idea. And I said, tell me how much money you need. And he came back and said $7,000 because we're replacing everything like that with polywood, and they started on that today. And we have 2 new benches that were purchased in memory of a student that was at Penn Hall Girls' School by her classmates. And it was pretty neat. I know Allie worked with them. They were all over the country, and Allie got them all to agree on a certain type bench, but they funded it all. Believe it or not, you see a nativity scene, you're thinking, Chuck, we got a long way to go. Well, here about 3 weeks ago, I had a resident come in, Chuck, we got to do something about the nativity scene here. I said, now? And she said, well, by Christmas, and because the one's falling apart here. And then the next week, I have another resident come in and says, Chuck, we need to get one also for Chambers Point. And she said, I'll probably pay for it. And I said, well, then sit down, we'll talk about it. So I wasn't going to work on this till October, but we want to hopefully get them for both campus. But we've been researching it, but there's a lot of them out there on the internet, so we'll get something. Now, the big thing Tiff has thought about, Tiff thinks about a lot of stuff. And like when she came to me last year and said, Chuck, hey, I got a little job for you. You got to raise $245,000 for the Hope House. I was thinking to myself, are you kidding? But naturally, I said yes, and we did it, thanks to all of you. We want to get new furniture out here because it's been 5 years. It's hard to believe that since it's been out there, and the cushions are deteriorating, and we really need something made for outside. So we want to get polywood furniture that will have high top tables, low tables, because that food venue is being used a lot. It's open longer in the evening, and people like to enjoy it, and we have a great fire pit there. So you'll probably hear from me raising some money. I have no idea how much it'll cost, but like everything else, it'll probably be a lot. But we've got to draw the diagram up for it. Okay, I did talk about Hope House, but we had a wonderful dedication. Well, dedication ribbon cutting, whatever it was. We had to have it here because there are about 150 people, and we couldn't get them all in that house. And so it was a great day, and we had so many people that residents, team members, people in the community that had made new friends by working together. That to me is the biggest benefit of it. So we had a great day that day. And, here's something that's very special to me. Spiritual care reports to me. Why me, you wonder? Well, because I need people praying for me. And Lori said we all do it, all four of us every day. But I tell you, it is so rewarding to work with people like that. They will do anything for you in the hours they put in, no matter if it's midnight, because I know they did it for both my in-laws and both my parents when they were passing. They were here. And my brother last year. So we owe them so much. Try to attend some of their things. I know this Grounded program, really, residents come, team members, you leave there feeling good. And just come. You don't have to say anything, but I think you'll get a lot out of it. Now we're back to, well, almost, the dog park. Scholarships. We used to have 2, but 2 of them ran out of money, and that does over time. The other one we have is Elaine Shepard, who was a resident at Chambers Point years ago, and her family set that up for any team member that wanted to continue their health care education. And it was only for Chambers Point, but we talked to them here a few weeks ago, and they're expanding that also to Brookview. So anyone from any of the campuses can apply. We get quite a few. And the Kermit Hicks and Anna Kermit and Anna Meals scholarship was set up a number of years ago, and that's for a child or grandchild of a team member. And they have to write an essay and be interviewed. I think last year we had one in eighth grade win. So we're hanging on to that money for about 5 or 6 years, but they'll get it. But it's a great reward, and it does energize people students when they get it. Now the dog park, we're going to change the code May 15th, and probably about time. And those that have an application in there will get a letter. But if you you don't have a dog now, or you didn't fill out an application, you want to go in there and sit on the gazebo, because you got to go in there to get on it. It'll be very peaceful in there. Just give me a call. Give Allie a call. We'll give you the code. And about 4 o'clock, where's Dr. Baker? Is he here? There he is. You have a big party down there on nice weather, right? With a lot of dogs. Well, now this is it. I can't see over there. Very special to me. On March 21st was my 74th birthday, regrettably, but I don't want to celebrate them, but I want to keep having them. And about 10 o'clock, I was sitting at my desk, and Allie had gotten 9 or 10 of the dog owners and their dogs together, and they came in singing happy birthday. It honestly scared me to death. They were on my desk, under my desk, on my sofa, and I have a bucket of dog bones in there, and they ate as many as they could. But to me, that was quite an experience. So anyway, I could tell you more, but I'm not going to do that. But our newsletter is coming out here in the next few weeks. Anytime you want to call me or come see me, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, come. Okay. Have a good day.
Well, are you informed? Well, we're going to try to keep it to an hour and a half, but this is your opportunity. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or demands, we want to open it up to you at this point. And here comes Denise with the microphone. Coming around.
Last question, I promise.
I don't believe you.
Okay. It's all right.
No, I love your questions.
On the benevolent fund, is there typically a carry forward? Or the 775 goal, does it go down to zero every year? Or what? Just curious.
I'll let Charles explain it.
Yes, the benevolent fund we have.
Get the microphone, Charles.
Come on, girl. I know you're quicker than that. The benevolent fund, we have a trust set up. It changes, of course. These days, if you're in the market, it's going to change. About 5 or 6 million. And we put a certain portion of what we raise in there, and we fund the shortfall, which can range anywhere from $1.2 million to $1.3 million for what I call charitable care from operations. So we want to grow that fund more and more. So there are actual dollars there, but we're trying to grow those because we know the need is going to continue to grow, and we want to serve everybody. Is that good?
Yes.
I just have a comment. It's very, very positive. I went on one of Jeremy's kitchen tours. I'm going to even cry. It was so amazing. You realize now why our food is so darn good. It was absolutely spotless. Everything was, cut up fresh. It was really a very, very impressive tour.
Thank you. I will pass that along. Thank you. Yeah, I hear those tours were so good that he has to schedule a whole nother round of them, which is awesome. That means it's good. Joanne.
Could the auxiliary sponsor the igloo truck once a month during the summertime?
Oh, well, that's a great suggestion.
Billy had to leave, but I told her I would give her helpful hints.
I agree.
I want to
Joe.
thank everyone for the presentation, but I do have a request.
Sure.
On Saturday nights, when you have events here and they close the deli, it makes it a little bit difficult. Now, this last Saturday, I didn't know it was going to be closed, and so we planned to have dinner down here. Mm-hmm. Is there any way we could have, because we're limited on Saturday nights to either here or Northgate, is there any way we could have the deli open when you have events here that serve food?
So I believe the closure of the grill should have been on the scroll. I'm looking for culinary in the background. I don't see anybody. I'm seeing shaking hands that it was on the scroll. There was a posting here at the grill for some time. I personally saw it to make sure that they were communicating that for folks that visited the grill, and it was out, I think, for a couple weeks to let everybody know. But here again, this just affirms our need for a communication platform of something that we can push out to everyone as a reminder. Wouldn't it be great if you all got a little reminder on your phones or in your inboxes? Just a reminder, the grill was closed tonight due to a fundraising event for our community. I'm not going to commit to put a flyer in everybody's mailbox, though.
No, we're not.
The request is to keep it open. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Depending on the event, we try really hard to not close it. But that event, for the amount of people, we just do not have the staff. Not yet. And I can't have, I don't, if I can get my words together here. I do not have the luxury of having enough staff to say like as needed staff to call them in when we have these events. Honestly, I could book probably this event center out every weekend, but we don't do that. So we're very strategic because we know, just for that reason, Joe, we know that we don't have the staff here and we do have to close the grill. So we're very sensitive to that. So we try to keep that to a minimum, and we give priority to folks that we partner with, like the Franklin County Library System, who is here on Saturday. But I hear you. I get irritated too when it's closed.
a thank you for the speeding notice. We're at the bottom of the hill, and we are amazed at how many people go flying through that from down the hill right through. Never even slow down, let alone stop. So thank you. Paul Kelly's watching that, though.
That's my man. I might have to disperse radar guns. Other things on your mind? Mr. Seibert back there.
Coming.
The streets there, Horizon Way, Garden View, and Windmill. There's no crosswalks from them streets over to the park. None at all. Think we maybe look into that.
At the ends of the street, walking across to Village Park, to the Village Park.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll have to check into that.
All right, thank you.
Other things on your mind?
Coming from behind.
Do we have a policy on on-street parking?
Tell me more. When you start with, do we have a policy, just tell me what the problem is.
People parking on the street, partially on the grass, 4 days at a time. Simple. And it's not, and there are areas where there is more than sufficient parking, but some people don't seem to want to do that.
I would encourage you that if it's a concern and you see that specifically, that you reach out to security, or reach out to my office, or ground someone so that we can address it individually. I'm sure you have a place or a person in mind. I would like to just address that specifically with that person in place. Denise.
Coming over. All right, raise your hand again.
I just wanted to thank Menno Haven for their support of the Boxercise program. Boy, that is really great, and we sure enjoy it.
Nice. It is awesome. I saw a picture of the new piece of equipment that came. It looks pretty cool. So just a reminder, Boxercise is Tuesdays and Saturdays at noon. It's a great crowd. Great crowd. Other things on your mind? Of course, if you're not comfortable speaking out in the group, we'll hang out afterwards. Woo! Look at that. I'm only 5 minutes behind, a whole hour and a half. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time and attention. Enjoy the rest of your day.